If you are considering relocating to Salem, Oregon, or anywhere in the surrounding areas, you are going to want to listen to today's video until the very end. You're not gonna wanna miss anything today because I'm gonna be sharing with you the updated 2025 cost of living for the Salem, Oregon area. So stay tuned. But first, if you're new here, welcome. My name's Mariah. My husband Spencer and I run a top producing husband and wife real estate team here in Oregon, and we get calls, texts, and emails from people like you that are watching our YouTube videos and are thinking about relocating to the area all the time. We have systems in place to help facilitate a really smooth transaction from start to finish without you ever even having to be here if that's your situation. Many of our relocation clients on a consistent basis are people who reach out to us and they're not able to come to Oregon until after they close on their home. So we're able to handle things from start to finish without you ever being here. So if that's you, if you're in that position, or if you already live here in Oregon and you just want to buy or sell a house, feel free to reach out. We'd love to help you. I'll put my contact information below. I am a Salem, Oregon native. I've been a real estate agent since 2015. And like I said, we're very relocation heavy. We work with a lot of sellers. We work with, buyers of all kind, but we're also very relocation heavy and work with a lot more relocation buyers specifically than the average agent works with. And we love it so much. But a big question we get asked is, what's the cost of living like in Salem? So we're just gonna have a little bit of a conversation about that today. At the very end, I actually have a handful of some of the most commonly asked questions that we get from people who are considering relocating to the area, relocation buyers. Be sure to stay tuned until the very end. You're not gonna wanna miss that as well. The way I think about it is that Salem is honestly a pretty affordable city for a modestly sized city if you're comparing it to other places on the West Coast. The West Coast is no cheap place to live. The overall cost of living in Salem is just 1 point over the national average. The average home price in Salem, Oregon is just around $430,000. That's up 1.1% from last year. And according to statistics, the average rent is just under $1,400 a month. Now, keep in mind, that is including some more rundown apartments, that's including studios, 1 bedrooms, every side of town. That's just including everything. So I just wanted to share a couple examples of some things for rent, because I know this is something that if you're considering moving to the area, you might be curious about what's the average rent like. Here's a couple examples of things, and this is a little bit more in line with what I'm used to hearing and what I'm used to seeing. By the way, no, unfortunately, we don't work with rentals. That's a question we get asked often by, people that find us on YouTube. I know many other areas in the country, realtors do work with rentals. Here where we're at, we don't. However, we would love to get you in touch with a solid lender who can run the numbers for you and let you know if, maybe you'll be pleasantly surprised and you don't think you can buy, but you actually can. We see that happen quite a bit. There's some really awesome loan programs out there, especially for first-time buyers with either very little down or sometimes even no money down. You might be pleasantly surprised, so we'd love to chat with you about that and point you in the right direction as far as that goes. But as far as rent goes, what I'm used to seeing is a little bit more like this. These are real numbers. In Kaiser, we have a older home but fully furnished, 3-bed, 3-bath, 1,300 square feet, and it's going for $3,750 a month. We also have a 3-bed, 3-bath, 1,700 square foot home in Kaiser as well for $3,800 a month. I would say if you're wanting to rent a house in a good area, in a good side of town in Salem, you're gonna see pretty similar numbers if you're wanting a house in a nice neighborhood, at least in a nice side of town, even if it's an older house. Now, you could definitely find something less if you're open to an apartment. Another thing to note about living here is a lot of people here have natural gas, which I think does help keep the utilities a little bit lower than they might be in some other places. Something important to note is that it's not hard to find a house with it by any means, but there are a good handful of houses here that don't have AC. yet in them. So that is something to also be aware of as you're doing your house hunting here. Leave me a comment below and tell me, where are you currently living? Where would you be moving from if you moved to Oregon, or do you already live in Oregon? As far as transportation goes, Salem, for transportation as a whole, Salem is under the national average as far as transportation goes. I'm not 100% sure everything that entails, everything that goes into that. We do have a bus system here in Salem called Chariots. I've never used it, but I've heard that it is a award-winning bus system apparently, okay? I know in Salem, gas is gonna be about 50 cents cheaper than in Portland, which if we're comparing prices to Portland, don't even get me started on home prices. A lot of our clients that are relocating to the area that are going to be working in Portland choose to buy in Salem or sometimes even Kaiser, somewhere on the outskirts, and commute because home prices are just so much more affordable. You can get like double at least the same house in Salem, and then the further you get toward Portland, the higher and higher home prices get. Now, I always say, like, if you're comparing Portland to pretty much all of the other cities in the Pacific Northwest, it's very affordable. However, compared to Salem, it is extremely, extremely expensive as far as cost of housing goes, okay? Now, a lot of these other things might not be that drastic of a difference, but cost of housing, as far as like rent prices and home prices, yes, you're gonna be paying a lot more in Portland. Here in Salem, for a meal at an inexpensive restaurant, you're gonna expect about $15, I'd say. For a cappuccino, is that how you say it? I'd say about $4.50. That was just a little bit about the cost of living, what to expect here in Salem. Now, I'm just gonna like a rapid fire run through this list very quickly about some of the most commonly asked questions that I get from our relocation buyer clients that we love so much, that we're so grateful to work with, who are relocating to our very beautiful area. The first question is, does Salem get a lot of snow? The answer is no. The average snowfall in Salem is pretty relatively low, less than 6 inches per year. It has not snowed this winter at all. Usually I feel like if it does snow in the Salem area, like the Willamette Valley, for some reason, it waits until like late January, sometimes February, sometimes even March. I feel like that's more common than in like December, for example, which would be nice, but usually it's a little bit later. However, like last year, I'm pretty sure there was like 2 days of snow and it was like frost. Like, it's not a big deal. A lot of places do shut down because people aren't used to driving in it. But we probably won't have any at all this year. We'll see, but not a lot of snow. The next question is, does Salem get a lot of rain? The average rainfall here in Salem is about 40 inches. Now, I feel like the last few weeks have been particularly rainy, like extra rainy, where we haven't had much of a break. And now, yesterday it was sunny and it was so nice. And now going forward, the next like 10 days, like you can see your 10-day forecast on your phone or whatever, the next 10 days or so, there's no rain. And so that's really nice. It's still cooler, it's not warm. So Salem gets about 155 sunny days a year. What are the largest industries in the Salem area? We have everything from trade, transportation, utilities, health services, education, a couple major employers right directly in Salem that we see a lot of relocation buyers moving here to work at. Or we have the Salem Hospital. That's a huge hospital located right downtown Salem, Oregon Health. And then we also have a lot of people who we work with, some people that already live here that work for the state of Oregon, and that's generally gonna be downtown Salem as well. The Capitol building is right downtown Salem. What is the sales tax in Salem? Salem has no sales tax, however, it does have income tax. So you wanna move to Oregon, what is the next step? What is the first step? The very first step is shoot me an email and I will get a call on the schedule with you. I have 2 back-to-back calls right after I'm done with this video with buyers that are relocating to the area, and it's something I totally love doing. So shoot me an email and we can get a call on the schedule, basically just talking about the next steps, getting your questions about the area and the process answered, and just generally pointing you in the right direction. And then another commonly asked question is, where can I search for homes at? Well, once we do this consultation with you, we'll set you up with a lender in our area that you can trust, and we'll then get you set up on a property search. So you'll begin getting homes sent to you that fit everything you're looking for in our area. However, if you're not quite ready for that yet, but you want to be looking at houses online, a much more reliable place than somewhere like Zillow or Redfin is going to be www.vettruscrawfordrealty.com. I will put a link to that website in the description. When you're looking for homes on websites like Zillow or Redfin or Trulia or Realtor.com, any of those websites, oftentimes, guys, that information is not going to be updated. I often have circumstances where a buyer will send me a property from one of those websites, and then I pull it up on the multiple listing services and find out it's actually not even available, or the information's wrong, or something like that. They're supposed to be updated, but they're not that good at being super quickly updated, okay, if we're being honest. So if you want the most updated, accurate, up-to-date information, then you're gonna wanna head to vettruscrawfordrealty.com to do your home searching there, because that website, that's my husband and I's website, it is directly connected to the multiple listing services. So everything that we get to see, you're gonna see on there as well. So a little insider information. Anyway, that's it for today's video. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss anything. Also, if you are considering moving to the area, I have an entire playlist sharing everything you need to know before you move to Oregon, specifically Salem or the Willamette Valley, but just Oregon in general as well. So head over to my channel and find that playlist, and I'll see you next time.